Hey, I'm Lisa and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm so excited to talk to you about why I'm moving my family to Southwest Florida. Do you like my Florida shirt? This is my bright colored Florida shirt. Florida. What's the song about Florida? In my head, all I have is doon 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 doon. That's Africa, not Florida. Doon 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 doon. So, if you've been following me for a while, you know that this is something that I have been talking a little bit about. It's one of the reasons why we sold our home in North York and moved here to our cabin in the woods, became renters temporarily, all because we really wanted to move our family to Southwest Florida. I'll put some of those videos in the cards for you, but to catch you up real quick, my family vacations in Florida every single year, sometimes twice a year, in a little community just outside of Naples. It's an area where my in-laws purchased a home, and so we would go visit with them, visit the town, and we honestly fell in love. And I remember my husband turning to me being like, oh my gosh, wouldn't it just be amazing if this was not just vacation? But I remember feeling very tied to my home here in Toronto, feeling very tied to the work that I do here, and really just feeling like it's never going to be possible for us to make a move. Like, who does that? Who moves a family completely away from my parents, from our groups of friends? I really was just like, no. But the thing that started to make me feel like moving my family to Florida was possible was when I got a contract to do a job in Toronto, but we were on vacation in Florida. Now, I have worked really hard to establish boundaries because experience has shown me that when I have not respected boundaries, my relationships have really suffered. So I remember it was during our holiday, one of our non-negotiable, almost month-long holidays in July. And I remember turning to my husband and saying, hey, I've got this opportunity, but I really want to respect our family boundaries around our holiday time. The money is really significant. It would be a great opportunity for me. What do you think? And I remember my husband, we looked at the numbers and we kind of weighed the pros and cons, and he was like, you should totally do it. But I remember being like, but it means I have to leave you alone with, at the time, our baby James, the sixth one, was a baby, so he would be coming with me, but he'd be alone with 5 kids. And I just remember being like, are you gonna be okay? You're in Florida where we don't exactly have babysitters or whatever. Are you gonna be okay? And he was like, I got this, you go. And so James and I flew from Florida to Toronto. I worked for 1 day in Toronto and then we flew back. So I was gone a total of, 3 days. And I remember coming home being like, oh my gosh, what's the house gonna look like? Just really nervous about how things were gonna look. And I couldn't believe it. Josh was in great spirits. The house was impeccably tidy. The kids were super happy. And I just remember that was the day I was like, oh my gosh, we could move. So that was the summer of 2017, July 2017. That's when the little seed was planted of, can we move our family to Southwest Florida? And it's been a really long journey. We're now, fast forward at time of filming, we are March 2019. So it's taken us, almost 2 years to actually make this real. And that's a topic for a whole other video. And if you're interested in the logistics of getting Canadians to Florida and how you work and all that jazz, let me know in the comments because I feel like that's a whole other video. But it was, basically a year and a half of us working out details, working out mortgage, selling our home, all that kind of stuff. And I can happily report we have finally purchased our lot and our house is under construction in sunny Southwest Florida. So today I want to share with you why we are doing this, why a life in Florida is so attractive to us, and why it makes so much sense for our family. Reason number 1 is the sun. Hello. Okay. My children have been home from school in the month of January due to freezing rain and actual school closures. I do not remember my school board closing in like, it's been 10 years since the school, I feel like, has closed. And they have had so many snow days and so many days cooped up that I can remember. It has been a brutal winter here in Toronto. And so for me, the sun, like, I just feel like we're meant to be like outside, like the majority of our lives, and not bundled up forever. And don't tell me that the sun doesn't impact your mood, right? And my husband, he really suffers, especially in the winter. He has ongoing challenges with depression and anxiety. So the sun is really just a huge motivating reason for me to move my family to Southwest Florida. The second reason why I'm moving my family to Southwest Florida is related to the first one, but the ability to enjoy the outdoors. I have always loved water, and I live in fairly close proximity to Lake Ontario, which is beautiful. In the summertime, we make it a regular trip to various beaches in my area. We love being outside as a family. I really believe that kids are meant to like get dirty and play in the mud and, you know, just adventure and be, we kind of call it in our house like Huck Finn childhood, if you know the book. And so for me, just the ability to easily go outside. Of course, you can live and enjoy. Many families in Canada or in colder climates enjoy things like skiing, like snowshoeing, like hiking in the woods in the winter. I just, be honest, I am not one of them. With as many children as I have, getting everybody in snow pants and boots and mitts and scarves and the complaining, and then, oh, now I have to go to the bathroom. Like, I just find it's a lot of work to stay safe, to be honest, and, you know, not catch pneumonia, which is like a real thing. And with as many children as I have, a lot of germs circulate real quick. So for me, to be able to enjoy the outside with not as much stress, like really, I feel like the flip side for when we do live in Florida, it's gonna have to be like constant sunscreen, for example, more hydration, but it's not, let's layer up and take literally 20 minutes just to go outside. So for me, the ability to go outside like pretty quickly, the proximity to the ocean, oh my gosh, I love water, and the ability to be, I will be a 40-minute drive from the coast. Like, that to me is just worth every single penny. The third reason I am moving my family down to Southwest Florida is for a calmer and slower pace of life. We love the city. I love Toronto. I remember thinking at one point, like, I would never live anywhere like in the country or where, you know, there wasn't access to like big malls and entertainment. And I remember throughout our marriage, this has always been a bit of a like thing, like, oh, like many times we have contemplated quite heavily, do we move somewhere not as chaotic, somewhere less busy, somewhere maybe cost of living is less, etc., etc., etc. And we kind of never took the plunge, mainly because my work kept us very much in Toronto. My husband's work for a period kept us very much in Toronto. But now that we are both very location independent, and now that so much of my business is online, we really are not tied to Toronto. And there are so many elements of a big city that I love. I love the diversity of food. I love the diversity of places to shop. I love the diversity of cultures and the ability to literally, if you want to see a play or a movie or whatever, you've got so many options. But when I really looked at how often we do these things, like how often do my husband and I go see a play? Not that often. Honestly, maybe it's like once a year, twice a year. How often do my husband and I take in a movie? Honestly, not that often. Like maybe once a quarter, maybe twice a quarter, we'll go and see a movie. Like, I was really just starting to reflect on how important is it for us to live like in Toronto, where there's like so much to do. We're not going out every night. It's just not our reality anymore. Where we are moving in Southwest Florida, we are not far from a big city. Like, it's not like we're moving completely to the country. It's a very short drive. It's actually the exact same amount of time for me to get from my house here to downtown Toronto is the exact same proximity of me to a major city. So I just like what we are going to gain by moving away from a large city, and we intentionally chose to live in a smaller suburb of Naples, is quiet, not as much traffic, If we want to get milk and eggs, it's a very short walk as opposed to getting in the car and what have you. I'm sorry, not only is it a short walk, it could also be a short golf cart ride. Literally, we probably will use our golf cart more than we will use our actual car, which to me is just like easy peasy fun, you know, wind in your hair, sun on your skin. Like I can't wait. And every time we vacation in this small town, I can feel my stress level just, you know, go. Like there are enough things in my life that are stressful that I cannot control. So for example, certain elements of my work will become stressful, can't control that. Certain elements of the reality of children, can't control tantrums, can't control fighting, you know, certain elements like that. So the elements that I can control, like how easy it is for me to go outside and buy, you know, a bag of milk. Although LOL, in Florida, in Canada, we have bagged milk. In the States, no, there's no bagged milk. They don't understand what that is. So for me to go buy a jug of milk is like, if I can control that and make that easy, whew, like honestly, lifestyle design to me is so important, and making life easy on a family in the areas that you can control it, just makes so much more sense, and all the more impetus to get my family to this beautiful sunny town. And number 4, and this is probably the most important reason, if I'm being very honest, for the health of my husband and my children. So I talk about on this channel very openly about what it's like to be married to someone who has regular battle with depression and anxiety. The sun and less stress, all the reasons I've already talked about in this video, are so helpful for my husband. Like I don't want to say he's like a different person down there. That's not really fair. But I think what I will say is that it is easier for him to get out of a bit of a funk or a mental ping pong game, if you will. I find in Florida, when we are there, he is just like, it's easier for him to be positive. And I think it's largely because of the sun, and largely because of there is so much less stress because it's a smaller town, because I could go on and on and on and on and on. So to see and set up my husband in an environment where it's just easier is such like a win for me. And then it's not lost upon me that there is a genetic element to mental illness. It's just not lost upon me. I've got 7 kids. The likelihood of one or more of them battling with some kind of a mental illness is very probable. And so if I can give them just a little bit of a heads up, you know, or a little bit of a set up their environment to help them thrive. And please tell me in the comments, like I'm getting emotional just talking about it. Like we will do whatever, if you're a mama watching this, I know you feel me, that we'll do whatever we can to protect our kids. And I'm not saying everybody needs to move to Florida or everybody needs to move anywhere or whatever to protect your kids or what have you. That's not what I'm trying to say. But when I see how well my husband does in the sun, and I just know the link of genetics with mental illness, you know what? This is gonna be a good long-term plan for them as well. So you know that in the months ahead, I'm gonna be sharing with you what we're gonna do with this house in Florida, how we're gonna decorate it, what it's gonna look like. So definitely stay tuned to watch our journey. I'm gonna have to come up with a fun hashtag. We call my house that I live in now, hashtag Canning Cabin. I don't know, what am I gonna call my Florida house? If you have a suggestion for what I should call my Florida house, put it in the comments below. It's also not lost upon me that maybe as you're watching this, you think I'm nuts. And there are a lot of people who keep telling me, wow, you're nuts. You're moving your family away from like your parents and from all of your support and everything you know, and you know, your work and all these people. Like, it's not lost upon me that this is daring and that to some people this is very risky. And there is some risk. What if we move there and we don't like it? What if we move there and I'm desperately homesick? To be honest with you, it is worth the risk for me. I see so many more benefits than I do see downsides. And I just know with the temperament of myself and my husband and my children, to be honest, that we will figure it out. We will make it work for us, and we enjoy our time there so much when we're on holiday. I really think we're gonna enjoy our time when we live there on a more permanent basis. Okay, so if you have questions about logistics, how are we gonna work there? How are we gonna live there? What's it like to get a job when you're a Canadian and you're moving to America? What about our children? Where will they go to school? Let me know in the comments, and I will definitely do a roundup of all of your Q&A in case you are contemplating a move to Florida or somewhere else and you are curious all the things that you need to think through. If you like this video, I would love for you to give it a big thumbs up, hit the share button, and hit the subscribe button. And until next time, cheers to designing your beautiful life.